I trust that we are all well. So it is a continuation for a series of us doing, of course, the questions which were tested in our last sitting, that is April 2024. So in our series, of course, we are doing financial management. And in today's class, I want us to handle a very interesting question which was tested in April 2024, question number 4C. A concept to do with loan amortization. I believe I'll share the question on the screen, which is very visible for us. You see that part C of the question, believing that it is very, very, very visible. And these are what we are told, right? A company negotiates a 30 million loan for 8 years from a financial institution. The interest rate is 14% per annum on the outstanding balance of the loan. The principal and interest will be repaid in 8 equal year-end installments. So we are required to prepare a loan repayment schedule, determine the amount of interest payable at the end of the 8th year. So that's a very interesting question, and many a times whenever we have such questions, my students will always be like, Mwalimu, what if you're told it was being paid at the beginning, right? That's where you should always remember the concept of annuity due. But in this case, you're told at the end of the period. So anytime you're dealing with the concept of loan amortization, because you're required to prepare the loan repayment schedule and also to determine the interest payable as at the end of the 8th year. So anytime you're dealing with a loan amortization schedule, my good students, the whole concept that should always seem to come at the back of our mind is that we are looking at our present value. The present value, by the fact that I'll be paying equal installment throughout the period. This is all about what? Annuity. This is all about what? Annuity. And at this point, it will be important for you to remember how to determine the present value of an annuity, where we will be talking of amount times our present value interest factor annuity given our rate a number of years. That is what you must always tend to remember. The concept of TVM, as I've always said, is always very important. And I remember me talking and telling you guys that topic 4, 5, 6, 7, they'll never miss. You just have to be perfect on the same, okay? So on this case, we'll be having our present value interest factor annuity given our rate a number of years. The big question that you need to ask yourself is, do you still remember how to determine this factor? Where we normally tend to talk of 1 minus into 1 plus r raised to power negative n, we divide by r. That is what you must always tend to have at the back of your mind, right? So the next stage after that, of course, it will be important now for us to look at the variables that our good examiner had given us. It will be very, very important now for us to analyze the variables that you are given. In this question, we are told that our rate, we're given 14%, whereas n, the number of period, we're given 8 years. My good students, in this case, many a times you'll find that it will be upon us because you are required to determine the amount that this person will be paying all through. And that is the installment component. Remember, the installment component will constitute of both the interest and the principal value. That is very important for you to note. So on this end, I want us to determine our factor, which is present value interest factor, annuity, given the rate of 14%, and we're looking at 8 years. So we should be having 1 into 1 plus 0.14 raised to power negative 8, because n is our n is 8, divided by 0.14. At this point, someone to give Mwalimu, how much are we getting as our factor? Kindly, quickly. So therefore, my factor in this case, I'll be having 1.14 raised to power negative 8, right? 1 minus answer divided by 0.14. On this case, Mwalimu is getting this, and you can confirm if you're getting the same value. So our present value interest factor annuity, 14% given 8 years, I'm getting 4.6389. This is what Mwalimu is getting. Kindly confirm if at all we are getting the same values. That is what Mwalimu is getting. Kindly confirm if we are getting the same values. Kindly confirm if we are getting the same values. Right now, confirm. I believe that we're having the same values. So once I have this, the next important item or concept I'm going to work out will be my present value. What do we have now? What are we taking now? Of course, it is a loan. A loan value of how much? A loan value of how much? We are taking a loan value of 30 million. So my 30 million at this point, assuming our figures here are in thousands. So my 30 million will be equal to the amount that I don't have times my factor, which we've determined, 4.6389. So what is our A? This is like saying that I'm having my A should be equal to 30 million. We divide by 4.6389, which in this case will be having what? 30 divided by 4.6389. On this case, Mwalimu is getting 64.67. Kindly confirm if we are getting the same value. Of course, 0.05. These are what you're getting. Kindly confirm if you're getting the same values. And this is the beauty part with these installment concepts. This is the beauty part with loan amortization. Because once we have that, actually, I don't need this question anymore. I don't need that question anymore. We have everything here. So a good examiner here wants us to prepare our loan amortization schedule, loan repayment, where in my repayment, we've agreed that our years, which is N, I'm having year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Balance brought down. I'm having the installment value that you're paying all through. Installment, remember, it just be the same. We're having our interest, and our interest you're given at the rate of 14%. We're having our principal value here, and you're having our balance carried down here. See? Rate of interest you're given 14%. Rate of interest you're given 14%, right? So that as at the end of the day, what will you be having? As at the end of the day, my good students, see how this will be very easy. Because we know every installment will be the same all through. That's why we termed it as annuity. And for installment, you have determined here to be 64, 67. So I'll be having 64, 67, 64, 67, 64, 67, 64, 67, 64, 67, 64, 67, 64, 67, and 64, 67. That is the installment all through, because it just be the same. It just be the same all through. Just be the same all through, right? It just be the same all through. So once we have that, the next important question will be what? The next important question, my good students, will be for us to work it out. So let us start. Year 1, my balance broke down is 30. At that point, I'm paying an interest at the rate of 14%. So I'll be having 0.14 times 30. Remember, our figures here are in thousands. All our values here are in thousands. All our values are in thousands. All our values here are in thousands, my good students. Our values are in thousands. So that is to say, year 1, I'll be having 14% of 30 million. That should give me 4,200. That is to say, my principal will be what? Our principal, therefore, will be this installment. The installment is a component, or rather is a combination of both principal and interest. So if my interest is 4,200 and installment being principal plus interest, can you now determine our principal? Yes, you can. So my principal will be 6467 minus answer to give me 2267. So that our balance carried down as at the end of the day, I should be having my 30 million. I deduct my principal minus 2267. This should give me 27,733. Let's take that first. Let it sink. 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 For you to determine your balance carried down, you don't take your installment to deduct, but rather you take your principal value. So that as at the end of the day, if I come in year 2, I'll be having 27,733. Now in year 2, my interest will be based on this principal value that I'm having. So times 0.14, this will give us 3883. So my principal therefore will be 6467 minus answer to give us, of course, that should be 2584. 2584. My balance carried down, therefore we'll agree I'll be having 27,733 minus 2584, right? To give us 25,149. Good. So we come and have year 3, 25,149. So therefore our interest in year 3 will be times 0.14. This will give me 3521. So therefore my principal will be 6467 minus 3521, which I'll be having 2946. My values at the end, we should be talking of 25,149 minus answer to give us 22,203. Okay, so if we open year 4, I'll be having 22,203 times the interest component. My interest therefore will be having 3108. 6467 minus 3108. This should give us 3359, and therefore closing that period I'll be having 22,203 minus 3108, 3359. So this should give us 18,844. Believing that we are on the same page. Believing that we are on the same page. So after that case, now that will be our opening here, 18,844. So I'll be having times 0.14 to give us 2638, and my principal value therefore will be 6467 minus 2638 to give us 3829. What will you realize here? You realize that as the time goes by, your interest is reducing, whereas your principal value is increasing, right? That's what you must have realized. So I'll be having 18,844 minus answer. This should give us 15,015. So in year 6 or period 6, I'll be having 15,015 times 0.14. My good students, I'm getting 2102. So that as at the end of that period, we'll be having 64, 67 minus answer to give me 43, 65. So talk of 15,015 minus 43, 65. That should give us 10,650, right? So in year 7, I'll be having 10,650 times 0.14. That will give us 1491, believing that we are on the same page up to that point. So having that, we can agree our principal will be 64, 67 minus answer to give us 49, 76. So I'll be having 10,650 minus answer. This should give me 56, 74. So I'll be having 56, 74. And at that point, times 0.14, that should give us 79794. So 64, 67 minus 794, that should give us 56, 73, which of course by the virtue that we had round off, you'll find that I'm having 56, 74 minus answer, I'm having 1. So in that case, we'd be like, in this case, this is 0 literally. So that here we just take that 1 because of rounding off, we have it at that point. So that at this point, whatever that we've done, we've prepared our loan amortization schedule, our loan repayment schedule. If at all you can look at this question, a good examiner wanted us to prepare also to determine the amount of interest payable at the end of the 8th year. So our interest payable, I'm just going to sum our interest component here. We are going to sum our interest component. And that's why you're given 1 mark, right? So that should be 4,200 plus 3883 plus 3521 plus 3108 plus 2638 plus 2102 plus 1491 plus 794. Mwalimu is getting the interest that I'm supposed to pay. We should be having 21,737 all through. So this is what you are required also to determine. See, as simple as that, and that is what the examiner wanted you to determine. You must have mentioned earlier on that it is always good to start classes early, and that's why at this point, as I mentioned, our classes will be commencing on 2nd of May. Our classes will be commencing on 2nd of May for the semester, of course, of May, August 2024. So make sure that you've reached us out on the number indicated. You see the number just on this screen. You can reach us out to book your spot. Our classes will be commencing on 2nd of May. As I've always guided you, remember, like majority of these concepts is always about us just to understand the concept. And if you follow Mwalimu right, we'll just be smiling, So I'm taking this chance, guys, to invite you. Of course, if at all you can't get time to join the class, we also have another alternative whereby you can go with our pre-recorded version of the classes, which you can access them in our platform, which is app.mdarasa.co.ke, app.mdarasa.co.ke. You can just log into that platform, you create your account, and of course you're going to get these classes. So You'll find that, of course, with time, we'll also do all the questions for April 2024, and they will be uploaded on the platform as well. So that point, guys, thank you so much. See you next time. If you are interested, of course, with the past paper for last sitting, I'm just going to attach it below this video so that you can also get it, right? So that point, guys, thank you so much. See you in our next class. Bye-bye.